When they leave, let them go. Here's why. Sometimes, in relationships, we must realize that letting go is the most loving thing we can do for ourselves and others. Boundaries are not about pushing others away. They're about protecting the peace that God has called us to preserve. It can be painful to let go of someone we care about, especially when we feel obligated to stay in situations that drain us emotionally. But we must remember that God calls us to live with peace and joy, and to set boundaries that allow for growth and healing. In the same way that we are called to set healthy boundaries in our relationships, letting go is also a vital part of our role as parents. We may think that holding on tight is the best way to protect and love our children, but in reality, the most loving thing we can do is to allow them the space to grow and become the individuals God created them to be. Self-respect and boundaries. Clara had always been the fixer. From a young age, she took it upon herself to put things right, whether that was smoothing over an argument between friends or tackling the impossible at work. But as much as she tried to control her surroundings, there was one thing she couldn't fix: her relationship with Alex. Alex, her best friend of 10 years, was a constant presence in Clara's life. They had shared everything: breakups, career changes, fears, and dreams. But over time, their relationship had shifted from supportive to suffocating. Alex had become emotionally drained, always seeking validation from Clara without ever offering the same in return. Clara had always chalked it up to being a good friend, telling herself, "This is what friends do. They support each other through thick and thin." But after a particularly harsh argument that left Clara feeling unheard and unappreciated, something inside her snapped. For months, Clara had been ignoring her own needs, her peace, her joy, trying to appease Alex. But she had forgotten the most important thing: her own boundaries. One late afternoon, while Alex sent a text demanding Clara's immediate attention, Clara paused before replying. She read the message again, this time letting the words sink in. "I need you right now. Don't leave me hanging like this." Clara stared at the phone, her fingers hovering over the screen. Is this really what friendship was supposed to feel like? She thought back to the countless times she had put her life on hold for Alex, trying to patch things up that couldn't be fixed. It was draining her slowly. She had been afraid to set boundaries, because she didn't want to seem selfish or uncaring. But now it was clear. If she didn't put herself first, she would lose herself completely. With a deep breath, Clara typed her response. "I think we both need some space. I'm going to focus on my well-being for now." As she hit send, a wave of relief washed over her. It wasn't easy, but Clara realized that sometimes letting someone go, especially if they were toxic to your mental health, was the most loving thing you could do. She had to let Alex go. The next few weeks were an emotional roller coaster. Clara felt both liberated and guilty. She second-guessed herself and wondered if she had made the right choice. But as the days passed, she found herself slowly regaining a sense of calm. She rediscovered activities she had neglected for years: reading, painting, and meditating. She realized how much energy she had been pouring into someone else, leaving little for herself. By the time Alex reached out weeks later, Clara was a different person. She could finally speak her truth, calmly, confidently. They had their conversation, and though it was hard, Clara stood her ground. She wasn't going to let her needs be drowned out anymore. As she hung up the phone that day, Clara understood something profound. Sometimes, letting go isn't about abandoning a person. It's about respecting yourself enough to prioritize your own peace and happiness. Moving forward to parenting and freedom. Now, let's also look at letting go from the perspective of parenting. As parents, we often find ourselves torn between wanting to protect our children and realizing that we must give them the freedom to grow on their own. Letting go is a part of God's plan for both us and our children. It's in the moments of separation that we see God's purpose for them unfold. The love we give them is not to keep them forever dependent on us, but to help them become the individuals God designed them to be. Linda had always known this moment would come. She had spent years preparing herself for the day when her youngest son, Ethan, would leave for college. She had watched her eldest, Sarah, take that same step years ago, but this time it felt different. This time, it was Ethan, the child who had been her sidekick since the day he was born. For years, Linda had been the one to kiss him goodnight, check his homework, and listen to his endless stories about friends and school. Ethan was her world. He was her youngest, her baby. And the idea of him leaving for college felt like a piece of her heart was walking out the door. It wasn't that she didn't want him to go. She was proud of everything he had accomplished. But as the date drew closer, the feeling of dread in her chest grew heavier. Could she let him go? The night before Ethan was set to leave, Linda stood in his room, her fingers brushing over the edges of his childhood books. His bed, once a mess of clothes and papers, was now clean, with only a few personal items scattered across the desk. Ethan, noticing his mother's lingering sadness, walked up behind her and wrapped his arms around her. "Mom, it's going to be okay. I'm excited, you know?" Linda smiled softly, though her heart ached. "I know, honey. I can't believe you're leaving." "You've always told me to go after my dreams," Ethan replied. "I can't do that if I stay here forever." The words hit Linda like a ton of bricks. Ethan was right. From the moment he was born, she had wanted him to be his person, to find his path, to chase his passions. But she had also wanted him to need her, to never leave her side. It was an instinct, but it wasn't fair to him. The next morning, as they packed the car, Linda stood on the porch, watching Ethan load his bags into the back. She could see the excitement in his eyes, the spark of independence that had always been there, just waiting to be unleashed. And then it hit her. This was the moment she had raised him for. To be strong, to be independent, to make his way in the world. With a shaky breath, Linda walked over to him. "I'm so proud of you," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "Go. Be amazing." Ethan smiled, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I will, Mom. I promise." As she watched him drive away, Linda felt a mix of sorrow and pride. For years, she had been Ethan's safety net, but now, she needed to let him soar on his own. It was hard, but it was the best thing she could do for him. She thought about the countless times she had tried to hold him back, to shelter him from the world. But today she understood. The greatest act of love she could give him was to let him go, to allow him to find his own path. Matthew 7 verse 7 asks, "And it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be open to you." We must ask God for the wisdom and strength to let go, whether it's in our relationships or as parents. He will guide us in how to love others by creating boundaries and giving them the freedom to grow. Proverbs 22 verse 6, "Start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old they will not turn from it." As parents, our responsibility is to guide our children, but we must trust God's plan for them as they grow and step into their own future. Psalm 34 verse 18, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Letting go, whether from a friend or child, can be painful, but God is near to those who are hurting. He provides comfort in our moments of loss. Psalm 127 verses 3 to 5, "Children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from Him. Like arrows in the hands of a warrior are children born in one's youth." Our children are a gift from God, and like arrows, they are meant to be released into the world. Letting go is part of allowing them to fulfill God's purpose for their lives. If you are inspired by this story, hit that subscribe button to stay connected for more uplifting content and powerful life lessons. Don't miss out on the next chapter of emotional growth and wisdom. Subscribe now. And don't forget to like and share. See you on our next video.